Good morning. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Martha. How you doing this morning? Good morning. My hair's sticking up. My hair's sticking up. Good morning. Good morning, Eliza. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for the heart me. Thank you for the heart me. Good morning, Margaret. Good morning, Barb. How is everybody doing this morning? Good morning, Baxter. Good morning. How are we doing this morning? So this morning, y'all, yesterday we had fun. We had fun yesterday. I'm kind of like, it's still in the hoop. Still in the hoop. How's Miss Martha this morning? How's Miss Martha this morning? Hopefully you're good. I'm good. I am good. Good morning, Marnie. Good morning. Y'all are all family. I swear. Y'all are all just family. So it's so fun to yak at y'all every morning. I didn't get to see the finish. Oh, it's still in the hoop. Let me show you. Let me show you, because y'all, it's backwards. Let me unmirror. See, that's when I know you're mirrored. So that's when I know you're mirrored. Didn't that turn out cool? Isn't that amazing? It is so cool. Y'all, I want to do something fun for a sweatshirt, right? I don't know. So what I'm thinking is I have a couple, I think I have a couple more hoodies. So I'm thinking what I'd like to do is cut a couple in half. And today we're going to work on a quilt, not today, but I'd like to do what we did with the other one and do an applique and do maybe the word sewist. Somebody said the word sewist. So we could do the sewist going down where we actually stitch the two sweatshirts back together. So it's kind of what I'm thinking, because I like this. I like this. So it's kind of cool. Kind of cool. And I'm liking the bling bling. It's almost like I'm calling it bling bling. I'm going to call it bling bling, guys. So, but it turned out very, very cool, guys. Very, very cool. So that was the fun yesterday. Did you get the design? I did, Baxter. I did get it on E. Hold on. I think I actually have a screenshot of it. I'm going to put it on my thing. Yesterday was a crazy day. I was going to do it at lunch, but lunch just really didn't half happen. But I think I have a photo of it. So hold on. Let me see. Let me see right quick. I did ship a bunch of packages yesterday. I only have a few left to do today. So you guys should have gotten notification on your packages shipped yesterday. Hold on. I have a screenshot of that design from E. And like I said, I will share it with you guys. I will share it with you guys. Where are we at? It's on here somewhere. Because I have been contemplating doing this sequin thing for a while. And I think it was previous to my surgery. So we're going to go see here, because I want you guys to... Okay, it wasn't that far back. Maybe it was on my other phone. Let me see. I don't know. So let me see. So somehow or another, my granddaughter ended up on a shared thing. So she takes all these pictures. So I have a ton of pictures on my phone. And I'm like, and then I got to go scroll through all those to find what I'm looking for. So I think my fabric shows up tomorrow, guys. I think the new fabric. So we're going to do a day next week. And I'm thinking Tuesday. We'll do Tuesday. Morning, Jules. We'll do Tuesday on fabric next week. So where's it at? Maybe it's on. Let me look at my other phone. Hold on. Let me look at my other phone. Yes, I have two phones. Zoom. Not featured photos. Library. I don't know. I'll find it for you guys and post it for you. So it's somewhere. Look at the fun photo of Blazer. Look at the fun photo of Blazer. Isn't that fun? Fun. You want to say good morning? You want to say good morning? So I weighed him today. He weighs 10 pounds, guys. He weighs 10 pounds. So I'm like, and it's funny how I weigh I get on the scale, weigh myself. And then I get on there and weigh him. So, yep. A big whopping 10 pounds. Huh. 10 pounds. I say, I'm a big 10 pounds. That's it. That's it. That's it. There you go. Okay. So today, what are we doing today? That's how you weigh mine too. I don't know how else to weigh them. How are you going to get them to stay on the scale? How are you going to get them to stay on the scale? So, and they're small enough. They're small enough. So, will the rest of the sequence stay on? Yes, Margaret. They're not going anywhere. They're all sewed on. So they're all sewed on. So she's asking if the sequins are going to stay. So yeah, see if I rub it, they're not going anywhere. So they're actually stitched. If you look at the back of the fabric, they're actually stitched into there. The only reason the other ones come off is because we're actually snip it. And when we snip it, you're actually snipping the stitch. And so it makes the sequins come off of there. So, but the other ones, not going nowhere. Not going nowhere. And I can actually post the sequins I got because I kind of like these. I kind of like these. They're kind of cool. Kind of cool. Kind of cool. So anyways, so good morning. Hey, Lisa, Cynthia. This is what we finished yesterday. So what we finished yesterday. Think it turned out cool. You were welcome, Margaret. Yeah, and I'll post and like I said, they have all kinds of different colors. So I may end up with some different colors, but we're going to try and do the sweatshirt one day. Maybe next week we'll add it. Y'all want to do that next week? Maybe we'll do that next week because I have 2 hoodies up here. I think I have 2 hoodies up here that we can do. I believe so. Lisa, I am coming your way tomorrow. I have to meet up with the library tomorrow. So, okay. So today, what are we going to do today? I got to get this quilt done, guys. The girl's birthday is at the end of this month and I got to ship it. So, me getting sick didn't help me. So, we're going to work on this today. We are going to work on this today. So we have this fun fabric. This is some fun fabric. And I have the coordinating fabric that's going with it. The coordinating fabric that is going with it. But in the middle, I don't know if y'all seen these. I think I've shown it to you, but it's been a while. It's been a while since I showed them to you. These are what we're doing, guys. These are what we're doing. So these are what we're doing. We're going to be adding these. We're going to be adding these. Isn't it cool, Cynthia? So all these are going to be added into there. So yeah, the girl, I think she's turning 16. This is a Sweet 16 quilt. She plays the guitar. She plays the guitar. So I printed these. I printed these off on fabric. So what we're going to do is I'm going to measure. I think we can do 8-inch blocks. Because I'm thinking we're going to do the block on the block. And I'm thinking what we can do. You guys willing to work with me today? Help me out? Because I think, I'm going to see. I think I have an 8-inch block. I think I have an 8-inch block. We're going to see. Because if I have an 8-inch Aki quilt, how big is this one? This is a 5.5 inch. We could probably do 7.5. 7.5 may work. Let's see if 7.5 will work. Because I don't know. Let's measure. Because I'm thinking we're going to measure this. Here, we're going to turn you guys this way. We're going to turn you guys this way. Let's see. So if I did 7.5 inch block. That's going to cut part of it off. Hold on. Let me see if I have a bigger block. bigger block. Okay. That one is a 10.5-inch block. That one's a 10.5-inch block. Somehow or another, I ended up with two 10.5-inch blocks. 5.5 is too small. This one is 8.5. That's 8.5, but that's a. We don't want to do a rag quilt. That might look cool though. I don't know. I think she said she has. I do have the Brother Moda. I have the Brother Moda. Yes, you are correct. You are correct. I'm contemplating the rag quilt. Of course, she didn't ask for a rag quilt, so I probably don't want to do a rag quilt. Well, this is a bummer. I was trying to make it where I didn't have to cut. Well, so the other option is we sew strips around it. How about if we sew strips around it? Because what I was going to do is I was going to do the block on block and cut it apart. We could do strips around it. What do you guys think about strips around it? I'm trying to think. I need an easy quilt that we can finish this week. I need an easy quilt that we can finish this week. I am 78 and my wish list is still growing. Marnie, I'm a bad influence, Marnie. I'm a bad influence. Okay, how big of a strips? Do you think we could? Do? Should we do 3-inch strips? Because we could do like a 3-inch strip around it. You're right there with me, Marker. Yes, 3. Okay. You guys are going to help me today. You guys are going to help me today. You are going to help. Let's see. Tell you what, guys. While I get this set up, would you guys like, because like I said, I'm going to do the audiobook, and I'm already up to chapter 10. Would you guys like to listen to a portion of it to tell me what your thoughts are on it while we cut fabric? You guys want to help me out and give me your thoughts? Okay, let me go grab that and put it up in the cloud so I can get it. And you guys can listen while I cut fabric. And you can tell me what you think. Deal? Okay, cool. Because I want to know what y'all's thoughts are. I want to know what y'all's thoughts are. Because y'all help me with the book. So hold on. Okay, it is uploading. It shouldn't take long. What I'll do is I'll pull it up. I'm thinking we actually might be able to play it on here. So it's still uploading. Hold on. We need the introduction. So we need the introduction. So we've got chapter 1, 2, 3, introduction. There is introduction. Okay. You guys ready for this? I used to use audiobooks while traveling. That's what I did, Margaret. I used to drive 2.5 hours one way. I drive 2.5 hours one way. Y'all, I could do 3 books in one. I could do 3 books in one setting. So, okay. So let's grab this one.
The Gathering, a quilting adventure across America. Written by Carrie Bartling and read by Carrie Bartling.
Can y'all hear that, or does it need to be louder? Because I'm thinking, hold on, let's do this. Let's download. Audiobook, download. I'm going to download these and we're going to play them actually on the Mac instead of through the browser. And I'm going to see if I can get system settings. Downloads. Open with mute. Let's see if we can do music.
The Gathering, a quilting adventure across America. Written by Carrie Bartling and read by Carrie Bartling. Introduction. The day I packed the machine. The day I packed the machine, the decision didn't feel dramatic. There was no thunderstorm, no grand argument, no cinematic moment where I stared out a window and whispered, I have to find myself. It was quieter than that. I was standing in my sewing room. The late afternoon light stretched across the cutting table, catching stray threads like tiny gold lines. My machine sat where it always sat. The hum of it still lived in the air from earlier that morning. But something in me felt restless. Not unhappy, but not broken. Just unsettled. Just a quilt top waiting to be assembled. I looked around the room, the stacks of fabric, the half-finished projects, the comfort of routine, and I realized something I hadn't wanted to admit. I needed movement. I had been sewing for everyone else, teaching locally, helping friends, finishing projects that lived neatly within the same 4 walls, and while I loved it, truly loved it, I felt the edges of something tugging at me. Curiosity. What would happen if I left this room? What would happen if I say, yes, more? What if I took my machine on the road? The thought felt ridiculous and thrilling. I laughed out loud. Who does that? I asked the empty room, apparently me. The idea didn't leave. It followed me into the kitchen, into the grocery store, into my sleep. What if I drove? What if I stopped at a quilt shop across country? What if I offered to teach whenever a door cracked open? What if it didn't overthink it? That last one felt the scariest. 3 days later, I stood in the driveway with my car trunk open, sewing machine packed, thread box packed, rotary cutter, rulers, small emergency fabric stash packed. I didn't have a schedule. I didn't have bookings. I didn't have a map that stars marked in advance. I had a simple promise to myself. If a door opens, I will say yes. I locked the house, slid into the driver's seat, and paused. For a moment, doubt tapped gently on the window. What if this is silly? What if no one needs you? What if you drive across 3 states and nothing happens? Then I remembered something sewing had taught me early. You don't wait until you see the whole design. You start with the next stitch. I turned the key. The engine started, and just like that, the adventure began. The first state line came faster than I expected, Texas.
Bye,
I
Lise.
had no plan, just curiosity, and a sewing machine in the back seat. I had no idea that within a few hours, I'd be standing in a quilt shop overhearing the words, our teacher called in sick. And before I could help myself, I would say, well, I could teach it. But that's the thing about saying yes. You don't always know what you're saying yes to. You just trust the stitch. And somewhere between my quiet room and a tiny quilt shop in Texas, I stopped being someone who wondered and became someone who went.
We want to keep going? How we doing? Do you guys want to continue listening to it? We can continue listening. Does it sound okay? Okay. Okay, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going, guys. So let's go to chapter 1.
Chapter 1, Texas. Texas and the mug rug that started it all. Texas doesn't ease you in. It announces itself. The sky stretches wide and unapologetic. The heat wraps you around like it has something to prove. Even the wind feels confident. I hadn't planned anything. That was the point. I pulled into a small town somewhere between Blink and You'll Miss It, and we have the best pie in 3 counties. The quilt shop sat just off the main road with a wooden porch and a painted sign that read Stitched and Starched. I told myself I was just going in to look. Every sewist knows this is a lie. The bell above the door chimed when I walked in. Fabric, wall to wall, cowboy prints, blue bonnets, deep reds, star blocks in every corner. It felt bold and familiar all at once. I ran my hands across a bolt of cotton because, of course, I did. When I heard it, "Oh no," the voice from behind the counter. "Our teacher for the mug rug class just called in sick." Silence. That kind of carries mild panic. 12 ladies signed up. Someone whispered, "They'll be here in an hour." I stood there, pretending to examine a fat cord or bundle while my heart did something strange. It beat faster, not from fear, from recognition. This was the door. A sensible person would have stayed quiet. A cautious person would have slipped out the door. I am not always sensible. Before my brain approved it, my mouth had already spoken. Well, I could teach it. The 2 women behind the counter slowly turned toward me. "You sew?" one asked carefully. I smiled. "I sew." 45 minutes later, I stood in front of 12 Texas women who looked like they had been quilting since before I knew how to thread a needle. One wore a shirt that said, "Don't mess with Texas, or my seam allowance." I respected her immediately. "Hi," I began. "I'm Rosie. I wasn't scheduled. I wasn't planned, but I'm here." Laughter. Good start. The class was simple. Mug rugs in the embroidery hoop. Small, manageable, confidence sized. We hooped stabilizer, picked bold Texas prints, threaded machines, and within minutes the room was humming. But of course, someone's bobbin nested. It always does. I walked over calmly. Inside, mild panic. Outside, smile. "Let's rethread," I said. We did. It worked. The room relaxed. Jokes started flying. Stories about grandkids, cattle, the great rotary cutter debate of 2019. By the time the first mug rug came out of the hoop, complete with a tiny stitched longhorn in the corner, the room erupted in cheers. You would have thought we had just discovered fire. At the end of the class, the 12 finished mug rugs lined the table like a proud little parade. Bold reds, navy stars, tiny florals, one with glitter thread that could have been seen from space. One woman looked at me thoughtfully. "You weren't supposed to be here today, were you?" I shook my head. "No, ma'am." She smiled. Funny how that works. As I packed up my machine, the shop owner handed me a square of fabric. Deep red, subtle star print. "For your travels," she said. "Something to remember Texas." I tucked it carefully into my bag. I didn't know yet that it would become the first block of something much bigger. All I knew was this. I had crossed the state line. I had said yes, and nothing had fallen apart. In fact, something had opened. Back in the car, I sat for a moment before starting the engine. The red fabric square rested on the passenger seat. The sky stretched wide above me, and I realized something simple, powerful. Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it just says, "I'll teach it," and steps forward.
What are we thinking, guys? It's funny. I wrote the book, and I'm sitting here listening to myself read the book, and I'm still like, "Oh, this is so cool. I'm excited. What happens next?" So I don't know. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going, guys. I'm having too much fun with this. All right, cool. We're going to chapter 2, y'all. We're going to chapter 2. I feel bad because I only got up to chapter 10. So y'all are going to get it. You're going to have a cliffhanger. You're going to have a cliffhanger. You're going to have to know what happens. So we're going to keep going. I'm having fun. This is fun. Thank you guys for listening.
Wyoming and the zipper that tried to break me. If Texas was bold, Wyoming was vast. Miles of open land stretched in every direction, like someone had pressed the world flat and left the sky untouched. The air felt thinner, quieter, honest. I drove past fences that seemed to run into forever and antelope who looked at me like I was a tourist, and I absolutely was. When I finally spotted a quilt shop, a wooden building with a hand-painted sign that read Prairie Pines Quilt Mercantile, I felt a spark of release. Fabric always feels like home. Inside the shop was cozy in a rugged way. Plaid flannel bolts stacked high, deep forest greens, denim blues, prints with moose and pine cones and mountains stitched in quiet pride. The woman in cowboy boots and a denim apron looked up from behind the counter. You here for the zipper class? She asked. I paused. Was I? Sure, I said. Why not? She tilted her head. You taking it or teaching it? There it was again, that little door cracking open. I smiled. Depends on how brave we're feeling. She laughed. Good. Our teacher's truck won't start. You're up. Now I need to say something important. Zippers are not innocent. They look simple. They are not simple. They sense hesitation. They wait for it, and then they retaliate. 10 women gathered around tables with zipper kits laid neatly in front of them. Heavy cotton exteriors, coordinating linings, zippers coiled like tiny mechanical snakes. Woman to woman crossed her arms. I don't trust zippers. I don't either, I replied honestly. Instant trust. We started with basics, placement lines, pinning carefully. Zippers respond to confidence, I said. If I had researched this scientifically. One woman whispered, mine can smell fear. Laughter broke the tension. Halfway through, someone gasped. My zipper won't close. We all froze. This is the moment where things either fall apart or come together. I walked over, examined the stitching, and gently slid the zipper pull. Nothing. It flipped over the piece over. There it was. She had sewn straight across the zipper teeth. I looked up slowly. You stitched it shut. Silence. Then she burst out laughing. Well, that explains it. The whole room followed. We seam ripped. We corrected. We kept going. And something interesting happened. The more mistakes surfaced, the lighter the room became. The fear shrank. The zippers stopped feeling like enemies. They became partners. By the time the first finished zipper bag turned right side out, crisp corners, zipper gliding smoothly, you would have thought someone had just summited a mountain. Cheers, actual cheers. At the end of the class, the shop owner handed me a square of dark green fabric with tiny pine trees scattered across it. For your travel, she said, Wyoming deserves a place. I folded up carefully beside the Texas red. 2 states, 2 blocks. I hadn't planned it, but I felt it forming. Driving out of Wyoming, I thought about zippers, about how often we avoid things because they intimidate us. How often we assume
this is my first book ever, Margaret.
Than it is. And how sometimes the bravest thing you can do is say, let's try. Even you might stitch it shut the first time. The road stretched ahead. Mountains faded in rearview mirror. And somewhere deep down, I knew this was no longer just a road trip. It was becoming something else. A gathering of courage, of women, of pieces. Next stop, California, and a potholder that refused to follow the rules.
How we doing, guys? Yeah, Margaret, this is my first book I've ever written. Are we enjoying it so far? If you play the whole thing for everyone to hear free, then you'll jeopardize yourselves. Just my opinion. Pearl, I only have to chapter 10. I'm going to leave a cliffhanger. I am going to leave a cliffhanger. Y'all are going to have to figure out what happens at the end. So I only have to chapter 10. Awesome. Yeah, so I'm going to chapter 10. If y'all want to hear the rest of it or know what happens, you're going to have to continue. So hopefully you guys are okay with that. So so I am cutting up a quilt. So I have a quilt that's on order, and I'm cutting the coordinating fabric that goes with it. I'm cutting the coordinating fabric that goes with it here. So you like the phrases, it's keeping my interest. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, so like I said, we're going to chapter 10. There's 4 more chapters after that. Y'all are going to have to get the book to find out what happens, because I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you. So, but we'll go through to chapter 10. I just needed somebody's opinion on me reading it. Does it sound okay?
California and the potholder that refused to behave. If Wyoming was steady and grounded, California was expressive. The air shifted the moment I crossed the state line. The colors felt brighter. The ocean shimmered in the distance like it had been stitched with metallic thread. Even the breeze felt artistic. I pulled into a quilt shop called Free Spirit Fabrics and Flow. The name alone should have warned me. The window display featured a minimalist quilt in soft neutrals with one shocking stripe of neon pink. I adjusted my travel mug. We were not in plaid country anymore. Inside, everything was intentional. Linen bolts stacked in soft grays and oatmeals, abstract prints that looked like someone had painted directly into fabric. A design wall with asymmetrical blocks arranged like a modern art installation. I was halfway through touching a bolt labeled Quiet Fog when I heard it. Our instructor called and said she needs creative collaboration time. Creative collaboration? That's California's for Anita Knapp. 12 people signed up for the abstract potholder workshop. The shop owner sighed. Now what? And there it was again, the familiar pause in the universe. Well, I said slowly, how abstract are we talking? 30 minutes later, I stood in front of 12 sewists wearing oversized glasses and confidence in their fabric choices. Today I began. We are making abstract potholders. A woman in the front nodded thoughtfully. Are we exploring structure through deconstruction? I blinked. Absolutely. I had no idea what that meant. Instead of rulers, we started with scissors. Cut what you feel's right, I said. There was a hesitation. You mean without measuring? Someone asked. Yes, it feels illegal, another whispered. We cut away anyway. Curves that didn't match, angles that leaned dramatically. One woman cut a piece she described as emotionally asymmetrical. I nodded like
That's
that
cool,
was
Abby.
completely normal. We layered batting, pressed seams, stitched with bold thread choices, mustard yellow, deep teal, coral that demanded attention. One potholder began to resemble a sunset arguing with the ocean. Another looked like a geometric cactus. One honestly looked like it had feelings. Halfway through, a woman raised her hand. My potholder looks confused. I walked over and studied it carefully. Leaned into the confusion. I said gently. She gasped. You're right. I had officially become a quilting therapist. When we quilted the layers, we didn't follow straight lines. We let the stitching wander. Organic.
Sorry, I had fun with my book.
Free. And something beautiful happened. The more the potholders refused to behave, the more confident everyone became. No perfection, no strict rules, just exploration. At the end, we lined them up on the table. Not one looked alike. Not one was symmetrical. And somehow they were stunning. The shop owner stepped back. I think we needed this. I smiled. Permission, she nodded. Permission to not measure everything. Permission to not match. Permission to create without apology. Before I left, she handed me a square of soft blue fabric with subtle water color waves. For your travel, she said. Texas red, Wyoming green, California blue. 3 blocks, 3 energies. The quilt was forming whether I planned it or not. As I drove down the coast, windows open, ocean air weaving through the car, I thought about something. Texas taught me to step forward. Wyoming taught me to steady my hands. California taught me to release control. Maybe that's what this journey was really doing. Not just adding states, but adding layers.
See, we're learning something as we go along in this book, which is kind of cool, and I'm always a positive thinker. You guys realize this. I am a positive thinker, and I'm always looking at the positive side of things, Okay, maybe this has happened, but why has this happened? There's a reason this has happened. So kind of a way, abstract potholder. What's that? You want to see an abstract potholder? I can show you an abstract potholder. I have one sitting right here. Let's see. Anybody knows me knows that I love abstract. Abstract potholder. This is an abstract potholder. There's no rhyme or reason. You just grab a piece of fabric, you throw it in the middle, and then you keep growing out from that one. So I think I made a patchwork mug rug. Very cool. Very cool. So good morning, Mima. So yeah, this is an abstract potholder. So this is something like they just made. So something fun. Okay. Y'all want to continue? Like I said, we're only going to 10, and then you guys are going to have your cliffhanger. You're going to have to go get that book. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, same thing. Okay. We're going to keep going, guys. We're going to keep going. Like I said, you're going to have a cliffhanger. You're going to have to go get the book. Yes, I noticed that in the reading. Yeah. I get excited. I love my book. I seriously, and y'all, wait till you hear the next one. There's going to be a couple of special guests in the next one. Just FYI, a couple special guests in that next one. So, all right. So we're going to go to chapter 4. He said it's not a long read, but it's a fun one.
Chapter 4, Colorado. Colorado and the baby quilt that softened everything. The mountains rose up like they'd been stitched into the horizon by steady hands. Colorado didn't announce itself loudly. It didn't sparkle like California or stretch endlessly like Wyoming. It stood, quiet, solid, patient. I rolled down the window and let the cool air rush in. After the coastal breeze and desert winds, this felt different, cleaner, thinner, like the world had excelled. The quilt shop sat in a small mountain town with a sign that read, Peak Patchworks. There was a fireplace inside, a real one, already lit. I knew immediately this stop would be different. The shop owner had silver hair pulled into a loose bun and eyes that felt like they had seen generations of quilts. You must be Rosie, she said gently. I blinked. I am.
What?
Word travels. Apparently it does. She explained that today's instructor had been snowed in, because of course she had, and a baby quilt class was scheduled in less than an hour. 6 women, beginner-friendly, soft prints. I smiled. I think I can handle soft. Baby quilts carry something other projects don't. They aren't for display. They aren't for competition. They are for holding something new. We laid out pastels, squares across the table. Woodland animals, tiny stars, soft florals, nothing bold, nothing dramatic, just gentle. Seam allowance matters, I said quietly. Babies don't judge, but quilt guilds do. Laughter eased the nerves. We are stitched simple 9 blocks together. Something shifted in the room. The energy wasn't competitive. It was flashy. It was careful. One woman was making her first ever quilt. Another was stitching her first grandchild. A third said softly, I'm making this just in case. Just in case. The room went still for a moment. There's something sacred about sewing hope into fabric. Halfway through, someone's machine jammed. Thread nested underneath like a tiny rebellion. Her eyes filled with panic. I broke it. I leaned over gently. No, I said softly. It just needs patience. We untangled, we rethreaded, we breathed. And when it hummed again, the relief felt bigger than the fix. By the end of the class, 6 quilt tops lay across the table, soft, warm, promising. One woman held hers up to the window's light, and the sun filtered through it like stained glass. I can't wait to wrap him in this, she whispered. I swallowed, because that's the thing about baby quilts. They are stitched with anticipation, with quiet prayers, with love that hasn't even met its recipient yet. Before I left the shop, owner handed me a square of soft blue fabric with tiny white mountain peaks. For your travels, she said, Colorado deserves a place too. Texas red, Wyoming green, California blue, Colorado sky, 4 blocks, 4 lessons, boldness, steadiness, freedom, tenderness. Driving down the mountain road, snow dusting the edge of the trees, I realized something. Not all courage looks loud. Sometimes it looks like stitching something soft. Sometimes it looks like slowing down. Sometimes it looks like preparing warmth for someone who isn't here yet. The journey wasn't just teaching me how to step forward. It was teaching me how to soften.
I like that chapter. That's one of my favorite chapters. That is one of my favorite chapters. I don't know. They're all my favorite. I like all of them. I get excited. It's just too much fun. So we are cutting fabric, Mima. So we're listening to the first 10 chapters. I'm leaving you guys with a cliffhanger. Leaving you guys with a cliffhanger on my book. So if you want to hear the rest of it, you're going to have to get the book. But while we're doing that, I have this quilt that we're making. So I have this quilt that I'm making. So we are cutting the fabric, the coordinating fabric to go with these. We're cutting the coordinating fabric to go with these. So, and this, and anybody that wants to know, this is what we're reading. This is what we're reading. So, yes, it's going to be cool. So these are actually printed. These are actually printed on fabric. These are actually printed on fabric. So, we need to go to the next chapter. Next chapter, chapter 5, guys. I like this chapter. I don't know. I know. I say everyone's my favorite, but they're all my favorite. So we'll go to the next chapter.
Chapter 4, Colorado. Colorado and the baby quilt that softened everything.
Wrong
The
one.
mountains rose up like they'd been stitched into the horizon by steady hands. Colorado didn't announce itself loudly. It didn't. Chapter 6.
Ah, did I miss chapter 5? Shoot.
Chapter 4. Colorado.
Ah. Hold on. Tell you what. Well, see, this is why you guys are here for me. This is why you guys are here. I will read chapter 5. And then we'll go to chapter 6 and I'll keep cutting. Chapter 4. Chapter 5. I'm just going to read to y'all. Are you ready for this? We're going to read to this one. So, chapter 5. Florida. Florida and the hoodie that survived the humidity. Florida didn't whisper. It shimmered. The air wrapped around me like a warm, damp hug the moment I crossed the state line. Palm trees swayed lazily. The sky felt bigger, somehow bluer, brighter, unapologetic. I pulled into a quilt shop called Stitchin' in the Sunshine. The window display featured flamingo fabric. I felt immediately understood. Inside the shop buzzed with color, neon threads, tropical prints, embroidery machines lined up like tiny computers ready for battle. The owner wore a pineapple print apron and greeted me with a grin. "You're the traveling quilting lady." I considered asking for a cape. That one's good. Instead, I smiled. "Depends on who's asking." She laughed. "You're teaching today." Of course I was. The scheduled class, reverse applique hoodie, stitched entirely in the embroidery hoop. Ambitious, bold, potentially disastrous in high humidity. Apparently, the original instructor machine had lost its will to cooperate during a thunderstorm. Relatable. "Well," I said slowly, "I do enjoy living on the edge." 10 women gathered around embroidery machines that looked more high-tech than my first car. Screens glowing, USB sticks loaded, threads in color that could only be described as tropical smoothie. I held up a sample hoodie I had stitched in record time, soft gray with a flamingo silhouette cut away to reveal bright hibiscus fabric underneath. I love reverse applique. Y'all got me loving reverse applique. So today I announced we are cutting holes in perfectly good sweatshirt. What? Gasp. They laughed. Then laughter. Reverse applique always feels slightly rebellious. We hoop stabilizers, centered designs carefully because misalignment on a hoodie is emotional damage. The machines begin stitching placement lines, the room filled with synchronized mechanical humming. "Okay," I said, holding up scissors dramatically. "Now we cut." One woman whispered, "This feels illegal." Another muttered, "My mother would faint." We cut away. Tiny, careful snips inside the stitch lines, peeling fabric back to reveal vibrant prints underneath. Collective gasp. That moment never gets old. The reveal. Halfway through, a machine beeped angrily. Thread break. Humidity had entered the chat. We rethreaded, adjusted tension, turned it off and back on like responsible adults. The machine complied, reluctantly. By the end of the class, hoodies hung across chairs like a tropical runway show. Bright dill hibiscus, coral flamingos, bold lettering across the back. Sunshine, state of mind. One woman twirled and said, "I feel like I should sell coconuts." "Only if they're embroidered," I replied. Before I left the shop, owner handed me a square of aqua fabric printed with tiny palm trees. "For your travels." Texas red, Wyoming green, California blue, Colorado sky, Florida aqua. 5 blocks, 5 lessons, boldness, steadiness, freedom, tenderness, and now revelation, because Florida taught me something unexpected. Sometimes the beauty isn't in what you stitch on top, it's what's under what you uncover underneath. As I drove along the coast, hoodie draped across the passenger seat, I thought about layers. How often we protect ourselves, how often we hide color beneath neutral surfaces, and how sometimes all it takes is one brave cut to let it shine. Okay, now we'll go to the next chapter and I'll continue trimming. Do you have that quilt from the book? No, I do not. I do not. We may have to do that quilt. We may have to do that quilt, Nemo. We might just have to do the quilt. That'd be kind of fun, right? That would be kind of fun. I got to remember, I got to redo chapter 5. I got to redo chapter 5. Okay, now we can go to chapter 6. Are we having fun? Okay, cool. All right, we're going to chapter 6.
Chapter 6, New York. New York and a skyline that refused to be small. New York doesn't wait for you to catch up. It moves. Cars honking, feet pounding pavement, conversations overlapping like fabric straps tossed onto a cutting table. The skyline rose ahead of me, sharp, vertical, unapologetic. If Florida shimmered, New York strutted. I parked 3 blocks from a quilt shop called Concrete and Cotton. The name alone felt structured. Inside, the space was modern and clean, exposed brick, industrial lighting, fabric bolts in grayscale with the occasional shocking pop of color. The shop owner wore black. Even her rotary cutter was black. You must be Rosie, she said without looking up from trimming a perfectly straight strip. I come in color, I replied. She finally looked up. I can see that. We were going to get along. The class scheduled for the evening. Modern improv skyline block. No pattern. No precise measurement. Just vertical strips, contrast, and courage. Apparently, the original instructor had been delayed because the subway ate her schedule. New York has its own vocabulary. 10 sewists gathered around cutting tables, efficient, focused, slightly intimidating. One had electric blue hair. Another one wore a measuring tape like jewelry. A third said casually, I don't believe in symmetry. I smiled, perfect. Tonight I began. We're building a skyline. Blank stares. With fabric, I clarified. We chose charcoal, slate, deep gray. Then I grabbed a strip of hot pink. You need something unexpected, I said. A woman nodded approvingly. Bold. Instead of cutting uniform rectangles, I had them slice different heights and widths. Buildings don't match. Cities don't line up neatly. Why should we? We stitched tall, skinny strips together to short, wide ones. Inserted tiny, lighter squares like windows glowing at night. One woman added a bright yellow vertical line. That's the taxi, she said. I nearly applauded. Halfway through, someone asked, what if it looks messy? I leaned on a table. Have you seen Times Square? Laughter. Improv quilting requires trust. Trust your eye. Trust in balance. Trust that when you zoom out, chaos becomes composition. When we pin the blocks to the design wall, something incredible happened. Individually, interesting, together, a skyline, jagged, alive, dynamic. One block leaned slightly. Wind, its creator said confidently. Another had metallic threads stitched subtly across the top. City lights. We stepped back and just looked at it. Texas had been bold, Wyoming steady, California free, Colorado tender, Florida rebellion. New York rose. Before I left, the shop owner handed me a square of deep charcoal fabric with a tiny metallic flecks. City lights, she said. Texas red, Wyoming green, California blue, California sky, Florida aqua, New York charcoal. 6 blocks, 6 lessons. Step forward, steady your hands, release control, soften, reveal, rise. As I walked back to my car, city lights reflecting off glass and steel, I realized something. You don't have to shrink to fit the skyline. You can rise however you're built, even if you lean a little, especially if you lean a little.
You have to reread that one. Good morning, Nikki. We're listening to the first 10 chapters of my book, and I'm leaving you guys a cliffhanger.
Chapter 7, Alaska. Alaska and the flannel that felt like home. The plane descended through clouds and suddenly mountains. Massive, snow-covered, silent. Alaska didn't sparkle like Florida or hum like New York. It breathed, slow and steady. The air felt crisp the moment I stepped outside, clean in a way that made you stand up straighter without trying. The quilt shop was called Northern Lights Needleworks. The windows glowed warmly against the cold inside flannel bolts stacked high in plaid, woodland prints, deep navy, pine green, and charcoal. It smelled faintly of cedar and coffee. I felt hugged immediately. The owner wore thick wool socks and greeted me like she had been expecting me all along. You're the traveling quilting lady, she said. At this point, I was considering embroidery for the title. Today's class, flannel lap quilt for long winters, for cabins, for nights when the sun forgets to rise, or in Alaska's case, forgets to set. 12 women gathering the stacks of flannel in front of them, plaids, moose prints, tiny constellations, flannel stretches. One woman warned, it sheds. Another added, I lint roll between seams, someone whispered. I nodded respectfully. Alaska does not joke about preparation. We decided on oversized patchwork blocks, big squares, simple layout, no complicated piecing. Flannel doesn't like to be rushed. It prefers patience. We used walking feet, longer stitch lengths, extra pins, and still one seam wandered slightly. It has character, I said diplomatically. The room approved. Halfway through piecing, someone pulled out a thermos of hot cocoa. Another one passed around homemade cookies shaped like tiny mittens. This wasn't a quilting class. This was a survival level cozy. One woman said she was making a lap quilt for her husband's fishing cabin. Another quietly said, "This one's for me." The room went still. For me? How often do we sew for ourselves? When it came to time to quilt, we kept it simple. Straight lines, wide spacing, let the flannel breathe. The machines hummed softly, almost respectfully. Outside, snow drifted down. Inside, warmth grew. One woman finished her quilt top, draped it over her shoulders, and closed her eyes. "This feels like safety," she said. I swallowed because that's what flannel does. It doesn't impress, it comforts. Before I left the shop, owner handed me a square of deep navy flannel dotted with tiny white stars. "For your travels," he said. "Midnight sun, Texas red, Wyoming green, California blue, Colorado sky, Florida aqua, New York charcoal, Alaska navy. 7 blocks, 7 lessons. Step forward, steady your hands, release control, soften, reveal, rise, rest." That night, sitting in a small cabin rental, wrapped in borrowed flannel, I stared at the sky, glowing faintly even though it was late. Alaska doesn't rush light, and maybe we shouldn't rush growth either. Sometimes courage looks bold, sometimes it looks structured, sometimes it looks like rhinestones and skylines, and sometimes it looks like wrapping something around your own shoulders.
How'd you like Alaska? What'd you guys think about Alaska? I'm noticing, and I'm glad you guys are helping me listen, because I'm noticing I'm gonna have to probably reread this. I'm gonna have to go into a different, smaller space and on it. So, all right, we're gonna keep going. Like I said, I'm leaving you guys at a cliffhanger. I'm gonna leave you guys at a cliffhanger because you're not gonna know what's gonna happen.
Chapter 8, Hawaii. Hawaii and the wall hanging that taught me to breathe. The first thing I noticed in Hawaii wasn't the ocean, it was the pace. Nobody rushed, nobody hurried. Even the breeze felt unbothered. After Alaska's quiet strength, Hawaii felt like warmth and rhythm, the kind that doesn't push, it invites. The quilt shop was called Aloha Stitches. The sign out front was wrapped and painted in hibiscus flowers, bright coral and fuchsia curling around the lettering. Inside, color bloomed, turquoise next to mango, deep indigo beside sunset orange, prints that looked like they were moving even when they were still. I stood there for a moment, just absorbing it. The owner greeted me with a hug before I could offer a handshake. "You're the one traveling and teaching," she said with a warm smile.
All the way in
me,
Hawaii.
I laughed, still saying yes. She nodded approvingly. Today's class was supposed to be a traditional Hawaiian-inspired wall hanging. Hand applique, symmetrical design, slow stitching. The original instructor had left to help her sister with a newborn baby. Colorado had prepared me for this kind of story. Hawaiian quilting begins with folding. Large 12 folding into quarters, sometimes eighths. The fabric becomes smaller and smaller before it becomes bigger again. "Trust the fold," one of the women said softly. I smiled. I trusted zippers. I can trust the fold. Laughter rippled across the room. We carefully cut out organic shapes into folded fabric, leaves, petals, waves, and when we unfolded it, the design bloomed. Perfect symmetry, balance, and whole. There's something magical about that moment. From something small and hidden comes something expansive. We basted the applique onto solid backgrounds, deep navy, soft sand, sea glass green. No rushing, no aggressive machine stitching, just small hand stitches. Island time. As we worked, conversation flowed gently. Stories of grandmothers who quilted before them, of patterns passed down, of sewing as culture, not just craft. This wasn't about selling or showcasing. It was about remembering. Halfway through, I realized something. No one was checking the clock. No one was racing to finish first. No one was comparing stitches. They were simply preset. One woman looked up at me and said, "When this hangs on your wall, it reminds you of who you are." That settled deep, because sometimes on this journey, I had been moving so quickly Texas boldness, New York height, Tennessee sparkle, and I forgot to breathe. Hawaii reminded me. Slow is not weak. Intentional is not small. By the end of the class, the wall hangings rested across the tables like blooming gardens. Coral florals against navy skies, turquoise waves against sandy linens, one deep purple design that felt like twilight over water. The owner handed me a square of soft fabric printed from tiny plumera blossoms. For your travels, she said, a little island spirit. Texas red, Wyoming green, California blue, Colorado sky, Florida aqua, New York charcoal, Alaska navy, Hawaiian coral. 8 blocks, 8 lessons, step forward, steady your hands, release control, soften, reveal, rise, rest, breathe. That evening, I sat near the water with my notebook and fabric squares spread beside me. The sky melted from orange to pink to violet, colors no manufacturer had quite perfected. And I thought about how each state had given me something different, not better, not bigger, different. Every piece mattered. The journey wasn't about teaching, it was about gathering.
Two more chapters, guys. We only got 2 more chapters. And I'm leaving you in a cliffhanger. I'm going to leave y'all right in a cliffhanger. Are y'all enjoying the book so far? Hopefully you're enjoying the book.
Chapter 9, Detroit. Detroit and the placemat that meant business. Detroit doesn't try to impress you. It just is. Brick buildings, murals bursting with color, music humming somewhere in the background like the city itself has a heartbeat. After Hawaii softened, Detroit felt grounded, strong, built. The quilt shop sat on a corner lot with big industrial windows and a sign that read, Steel and Stitches. I liked it immediately. Inside, exposed brick walls, frame rows of bold fabrics, denim prints, metallic threads, deep jeweled tones, nothing timid, nothing apologetic. The owner looked up from a cutting table the size of a dining room. You're the road trip quilter, she said. That's what they tell me, I smiled. You're teaching today. Of course I was. The class, placemats. Now, after skyline blocks and wall hangings, placemats might not sound exciting, but Detroit doesn't do delicate. Detroit does durable. These aren't for display, one woman said. These are for Sunday dinners. I loved that. This wasn't about decor. It was about the table, where life happens. We chose sturdy cottons, denim blends, deep indigo, burnt rust. Charcoal was subtle metallic shimmer. We layered thick, slightly thicker batting. These need to hold weight, I said, emotionally and physically. Someone asked, both, I replied. We pieced bold, straight strips, clean lines, confident seams, no wandering curves here. The machine hummed in rhythm, almost like percussion. One woman stitched decisively and said, I don't want mine fragile. Another added metallic thread to the border. Motown tribute, she grinned. I nearly clapped. Halfway through quilting, a needle snapped with a sharp pop. Everyone jumped. The woman stared at the machine. It gave up. I leaned over and replaced the needle. It hit resistance, I said calmly. So we adjust. She nodded. Detroit energy. I don't quit. You adapt. By the end of the class, placemats were lined the table like modern art with purpose. Structured, strong, ready to hold something heavy. One woman ran her hand across hers and said quietly, this feels solid. Solid. That word stayed with me. Texas bold, Wyoming steady, California free, Colorado tender, Florida revealing, New York rising, Alaska resting, Hawaii breathing, Detroit enduring. Before I left the shop, owner handed me a square of deep indigo fabric woven with subtle metallic threads. For your travel, she said, a little still in the stitching. Texas red, Wyoming green, California blue, Colorado sky, Florida aqua, New York charcoal, Alaska navy, Hawaii coral, Detroit indigo, 9 blocks, 9 lessons, step forward, steady your hands, release control, soften, reveal, rise, rest, breathe, endure. As I drove through the city past murals and music spilling from open windows, I realized something. Strength doesn't always sparkle. Sometimes it just shows up, sets the table, and says, this will hold.
Yeah, I like this chapter too, Irie. I really like this chapter. So this is cool. Okay, I got one more chapter for you guys. One more chapter. I'm giving you one more chapter, and then y'all are going to have to get the book. If you don't have the book, y'all get the book. It is very, very cool. And if you want to get the book, text the number on the screen. it's right there in there. You'll see it. So it's available on the Big A Rainforest. So we'll do one more chapter, and then I'm going to leave y'all in a cliffhanger.
Tennessee and the Quilted Jacket Queen. If Detroit was rhythm, Tennessee was harmony. Music drifted through the streets of Nashville like it belonged there. Guitars strumming somewhere, boots tapping on sidewalks, laughter spilling out of open doors. The quilt shop set off a lively street and was called Harmony and Thread. There were guitars mounted on the wall, denim fabric stacked beside vintage floras, a corner labeled Reclaimed and Reimaged. I felt it the moment I walked in. This place understood storytelling. The shop owner greeted me with wide eyes. You're the traveling quilting lady. I bowed slightly, still saying yes. Well, she grinned. You're teaching today. Of course I was. The class, upcycled quilted jackets. We were taking vintage quilts, the kind that once lived quietly on beds, and turned them into wearable art. I held up a faded patchwork quilt with soft florals and tiny calico squares. Today, I announced, we're cutting into history. Collective gasp. Because cutting into vintage quilt feels rebellious and sacred all at once. We laid patterns pieces carefully over existing blocks, centered star designs across jacket backs, aligned floral long sleeves, placed pockets where blossoms would bloom naturally. This feels dramatic, one woman whispered. We're in Tennessee, I smiled. Lean into it. Quilted jackets are not delicate projects, bulky seams, layered thickness. The occasional snapped needle makes everyone jump. When the first jacket came together, sleeves attached, collar pressed, binding neatly finished, something shifted. The woman slipped on. It fit. It worked. It looked like confidence stitched into cotton. Halfway through class, the shop owner's phone rang. She answered, listened. Her eyes widened. She turned slowly towards me. You are not going to believe this. Now I had learned not to underestimate quilting destiny. What? I asked carefully. She swallowed. Well, Trixie's in town. Silence. As in, she nodded. As in rhinestones and songwriting? I blinked. Surely not. 10 minutes later, the bell above the door shop chimed, and there she was, bright smile, blonde curls, confidence sparkling like it had its own spotlight. Trixie Diamond herself. She looked around at fabric scraps, half-finished jackets, and laughed softly. Well, I'll be, she said. This is my kind of room. I did not faint, but it was close. She picked up one of the jackets, a vintage star block centered boldly across the black. Honey, she said gently, that's storytelling. I swallowed. We're turning quilts into jackets. She smiled. I've been turning stories into songs for years. Same thing. The room felt suspended. Magic stitched into cotton. One woman bravely asked if she would try it on. Of course she did. She slipped into a floral quilted jacket and spun once. Well, now, she laughed, I could wear this on stage. Phones came out, laughter filled the room, but she grew softer. She looked at all of us. Don't you ever think what you're making doesn't matter, she said. People need beauty. They need courage. I felt that settle into my bones. When she left, like glitter carried on wind, the room stayed quiet for a moment. Not stunned, inspired. The jackets hanging on hooks weren't just garments anymore. They were declarations. Wear your story. Shine away. Before I left the shop, the owner handed me a square of soft denim with tiny embroidered music notes. For your travel, she said, a little Tennessee tune. Texas red, Wyoming green, California blue, Colorado sky, Florida aqua, New York charcoal, Alaska navy, Hawaii coral, Detroit indigo, Tennessee denim. 10 blocks, 10 lessons, step forward, steady your hands, release control, soften, reveal, rise, rest, breathe, endure, shine. Driving out of Nashville, I smiled. Sometimes courage is quiet, sometimes it's structured, sometimes it's flannel wrapped around your shoulders, and sometimes it's sparkle under stage lights.
Okay, yes, this is me reading the book. I'm going to have to re-record some of it. But I about flipped you guys over. That's all I'm sharing. So there's still some more chapters after that. I'm leaving you guys on a cliffhanger. You're going to have to go find out what happens. Me personally, I love the adventure. I love the adventure because, you know, you're going to each quilt shop. You're teaching things that we've done here on live. So, you know, I've kind of implemented both of those things into there. So you guys can actually see what's, you know, and you're sitting there going, I remember Carrie doing this. I remember the zippers. Y'all know I hate zippers, you know, so each one is a little different. So, and the next book is already in the making. And there's a couple surprises in there. And just as the Tennessee one. So as I was writing that, I originally put Dolly Parton in there, and I'm sitting there going, I don't think I can put Dolly Parton in there. So I'm like, okay, we're going to change it from Dolly Parton, and we're going to make up some lady. We're going to make up some lady. So needless to say, we had a fun lady made up. So, but it was so cool. Just the idea of it, you know, because I think it's cool. But I, you know, like I said, I wrote the book, you know, and like I said, I started it when Mom passed away. It was just some a little bit more therapy I had. And then y'all gave me the confidence and the want to finish the book. So I was excited with it. So after finishing the book, you know, I'm sitting there going, he's like, he wants to heal my wound there. You know, every time I read it, it's like, I love it. I love my book. So I hope y'all love it too, because like I said, y'all are a part of it. Y'all are definitely a part of this book. So I appreciate it. And again, if you guys want the book, send a message. You'll see it right there on the list. You'll see it right there. Let me make sure that it's there. Hold on. Because it should be do refresh. Yeah, you'll see it right there in there. You'll see it right there on there. So, like I said, y'all, the book is fun. And this is an FYI. I'm still working on the audio, but it's all large print. It is all large print because I like large print. I've liked large print since I was a kid. So it was kind of fun. Okay. So now that I left y'all on a cliffhanger, I'm not telling you what happens. Not going to tell you what happens. So you're going to have to continue. Something surprising happens at the end, y'all. So you're going to have to go get the book to find out. Just as an FYI. Hopefully you enjoyed it. So. Okay. So what do you want, dude? You want some ice? There you go. I'll give him some ice. Okay, so I need your help, guys. I need your help. Let me turn off. It's auto tracking me. Normal tracking. Quit tracking me. Okay, so we have our squares and we have our strips. So we have two options. We have two options here. So do we want, and I guess I can lay them out on here and we can look at it and see. I'm trying to figure out if we put two blue or we go like every other one. I don't know, because we have two options we could do. And I'm almost thinking we do, let's see if I can bring y'all down here because what I was thinking about doing, but I'm thinking I want the brown on the inside. So what I was thinking about doing is, let's just do this. I'm going to put boom, boom. So it'd be brown on the inside. Okay, brown on the inside. And then to make it pop, we add that blue on the outside. But there's another option we could do too. You guys get to help me here. Another option we could do. So we could do it this way. So what we could do is do one block this way, do another block with the blue on the inside and the brown on the outside. Do like every other one. Or we do all of them this way. So we're doing a quilt. We are making a quilt. I have it. This is an order for a quilt. This is a Sweet 16 quilt. This is a Sweet 16 quilt. So Sweet 16 quilt on this. So do every other one. Okay, so Christy's saying every other one. You like that idea? I'm kind of liking that idea, Christy. What do you guys think about the other? So we would do one this way. Okay. Now let's swap it. Let's swap it so you guys can see the other way. So it'd be one this way. And then the next one would be with, I'm really liking the fabric. I really like the fabric I found to go with this. Isn't it funny how you have a quilt to make and then you just happen to find the exact fabric you need? happen to find the exact fabric you need. So then we would do this one this way. So one would be the other way, one would be this way. And then it would coordinate on the next one. So I'm kind of liking that idea too. Okay. Oh, these, Mima? Send me a message, Mima, on the prints. Okay, we will do that. Okay, so we're going to do that. So let's move over to the sewing machine. And I just put a new needle while we were doing the last chapter. I put a new needle, changed the foot over from an embroidery foot. And we're going to go to sewing. We're going over sew. We're going to turn that speed down a little bit. We're going to rethread you. And we're just going to use a white thread. We're going to use a white thread. So I got a white bobbin in there. I'm going to use a white thread. So we'll do 2 blocks. We're going to do 2 blocks just to see. Thanks for your help, guys. I appreciate your help. Y'all are always helpful. I appreciate that. I'm going to see if I can move you over here so you guys can see a little better. We're going to see how this works out. Hopefully. Okay. Stay there. Stay there. Stay there. Okay. So we're going to take this. So we're going to do brown on the inside of the first one. Brown on then I'm going to trim off this on the front. I'm just trimming off the, what do they call it? Selvage? Is it selvage? Is that the word for it? Can't ever remember these words. Y'all, I come up with my own words. I'm trimming off the white stuff around the edges. Haha. Anyways. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to go boom. You can hear Blazer eating ice here. Blazer's funny. Eating ice. Eating ice. It's like, I'm going to eat the ice here. I'm going to eat the ice here. Salvage. Thank you, Christy. Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to trim this one off here. Open that one up. And I'm opening the seams, y'all. I am going to finger press. I'm going to finger press the seam open. This one here, this one here. I think one strip might do a whole block. I'm hoping. We're going to find out. We may have to cut more strips, but we will find out. So finger press this open. So when I say finger press, I'm just kind of pressing this open. Pressing that open like that. And that's going to be pretty, y'all. Oh my gosh, look at that. I really love these images. These images are awesome. It's always fun when I find fun images and can print them out. I think it's going to work. I think we're going to be able to have one more side. It's almost like, kind of like you do a log cabin when you're doing a log cabin quilt. You just keep moving around. Just keep moving around. Just keep turning. Just keep turning. Just keep a turning. Okay, so now we have one more side. Line this one up. It's going to give me my starter. Okay, have a stopper there. Okay, so we got the brown around here. Now we're going to add the blue. There's the brown. So the brown makes it pop. The brown makes it pop. There. Thank you, user. Yeah, I was trying salvage. Is it salvage or salvage? Which one? I think either one means the same thing. So now let's add the blue. Let's add the blue. So we're going to keep going around the other side here. Oops. Oops, oops, oops. Oops, oops, oops. Stay there. I love the design. Isn't that cool, Shannon? So this is a Sweet 16 quilt. This is a Sweet 16. And let me press this. I think I need to press this before we sew it. Hold on. I'm gonna turn the iron on. I'm gonna bring y'all back this way. So this is a Sweet 16 quilt that somebody ordered from me. So I probably should have already had it done, and I told her with the surgery I had. So I apologize. She's a wonderful lady. She's actually ordered quite a few quilts from me, which is awesome. She's awesome. So very appreciative. Very appreciative. So, okay. I got to organize my sewing room. Y'all, I got a mess going here. I have got a mess going here. So this is the one, and we're going to add the blue. We're going to add the blue around it. So we're going to add the blue. So I'm going to turn it over here. So we're going to press, I'm going to press the seams open. Thank you, Sarah. Salvage is the edge that keeps fabric from unraveling. Oh, Marnie. See, I always wondered why they have all this stuff there. I'm like, why do you guys have this wasted area? Wasted area. But, you know, hey. So I'm going to press that one open. Stay there, book. Stay there. This one I press open. This one I press open. Now we're going to flip it over. I think I'm liking this one. So now we'll add the blue. Y'all, I just love sewing. I don't it's like addicting. I don't know. It's just addicting to things. So right? And it's amazing what pressing a block will make it look like. Pressing a block. I'm like, y'all, it just turns into something new. Let's add the blue. Let's add the blue because I'm excited to see what the two together is going to look like. What the two together is going to look like. So this is going to be an awesome quilt. This is going to be an awesome quilt here, y'all. Zoom down a little bit. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this blue, upside down, and we're going to stitch this across here. Make sure it's lined up here and trim this off on the edge. Leave that strip alone, dude. Just because it's hanging down there doesn't mean it's yours. I like having a starter and a stopper. I like having the starter and stopper instead of using the thing scissors. So I'm going to, being as I have the iron on, I'm going to press this seam open right quick. Dude, take a chill pill. I hear you. Okay. So like in the blue, guys. Like in the blue. I wasn't sure if the two would go together, but I'm kind of thinking they do. Your fabric have to hold hands so you can marry them, right? Oh, well, thank you, Marnie. Thank y'all for hanging out, y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out. Stitch along this. Just keep a stitching. Just keep a stitching. Nikki, I keep thinking of that song that Marin was singing. We may have to do a thing of that one. So she was singing. So we decided that, you know, the song that I like big butts. Well, now Rosie is singing I like big blocks. I like big blocks. I like big blocks. I don't know the song. I don't know the song. So isn't it that I like big blocks? I like big blocks. I think that was it. Catchy, right, Mima? We should do dance. We could do that. And I cannot lie. Thank you, Debbie. See, y'all help me out. I like big blocks. I like big blocks. I cannot lie. Yeah. See? Fun. Fun. We may have to do a thing with Rosie. We may have to do a thing with Rosie. Too much fun. Too much fun. Yep, it's going to take 2 strips. So one strip of the innard. Is that right? Oh, that ice is cold, Blazer. You dropped ice on my foot. Ice on my foot. Yeah. Clean that off there, dude. He's like, thanks, Mom. I like ice. I should see if they have like freezer things for dogs that you can freeze. I'm assuming they do. That way I give him something to do when I put him in the kennel. I would assume. Why are you putting fabric under the, so the fabric under, so that's a starter and a stopper. So I don't know if you've ever noticed when you're stitching fabric, sometimes when you stitch that fabric, when you start, it bunches up under that. The two pieces of fabric end up bunching together, kind of like, so this one. So you see how this, when it started, it bunched. Well, it bunches on your starter or your stopper. It's not bunching on your quilt block. It's not bunching on the quilt block. So that's why I have a starter and a stopper. So I love to use a starter and a stopper. A lady, a quilter that I took a retreat with one year told me about those starters and stoppers. So plus it saves thread. You know how much thread you waste when you're very welcome. You're very welcome. They have silicone molds that can be made. Oh, thanks, Ronnie. I'll have to check that out. I will have to check that out. Okay. So we're pressing seams open. We're pressing seams open. Let me press this one open right quick. Press that one open, and then we got one more side to sew on. I'm liking the blue around it, guys. I am liking the blue around it. I think it's making it pop. And the next one we do, we'll have blue on the inside and brown on the outside. Blue on the inside, brown on the outside, guys. And then it'll coordinate. It'll just keep coordinating across. So it'll be kind of fun. It is a wow, Marnie. It is a wow. Kind of cool. Da-doom. Da-doom. And I think I got this fabric at HL, guys. I think I got the fabric at HL. Pretty sure it's been a little while since I got it, so I feel so bad. I should have had this quilt done. Surgery did not play nice with me, so, but that's okay. We're gonna have it done. I'm hoping to have it done this week. So hopefully. I did not get up early this morning because I was going to get up early this morning, but I'm glad I didn't because you guys helped me decide how we're going to stitch it together. So I appreciate y'all's help. I'm going to have to start paying y'all commission. How did you design this quilt? Well, with the help of all my friends. With the help of all my friends. You need some more ice? And so you have that start. Make sure you have your needle down in the down position when you have a starter and stopper. That way you can just pull it this way and trim that thread. Just pull it that way and trim that thread. Okay, so let's come back this way. Come back this way. We're going to press open that seam there. Press open that seam, and then we'll turn it. These are going to have to measure. We'll have to measure, see how big this block is. Measure and see how big that block is, because this is going to be a big block. I'm almost thinking, let's guess. I'm thinking 15 inches maybe. I'm thinking maybe 15 inches. I don't know. We're going to see. We'll see. Oh my gosh, how pretty is that? I think I'll keep this quilt. No, joking. Not really. You know, it's funny. My friend Lisa, she tells me, she goes, you know, every quilt you make, you always say that that's your favorite. And I do. I love my quilts. Doesn't matter what quilt I make, what I'm doing. It seems like every quilt I make, I'm like, oh, that's my new favorite. Oh, that one is my new favorite. And I don't know if I have a favorite one I made. I mean, the one that I made for Ma, when Ma passed away, that one's at the top of the list. That one has to be at the top of the list. But, you know, so, okay, let's look and see. Let's look and see. They do, right? Y'all, look at this quilt block. How gorgeous is that? How gorgeous is that? That is so pretty. All right, let's do the brown and let's swap it. Let's swap it now and put the blue next to the white and then we'll flip it over. So thank you. Okay, let's do the next one. I'm excited. This is too much fun. Y'all, I'm having fun. This has been a fun morning. I'm enjoying, y'all. It is so nice to be back and feeling well. So nice to be back and feeling well. Hold on, dude. How'd you already eat that? Okay, come back over this way. Oh, hold on, guys. That one's following me. Come back that way. Come back that way. Oh, thank you, Rhonda. Yeah, so that was a request. This is a Sweet 16 quilt. This is a Sweet 16 quilt. So the little girl, or I guess I'm calling her a little girl because she's, so we're doing blue on the inside. She's turning 16 and she plays the guitar. So the request was she told me what she liked, and so this is what I came up with. Y'all, look at my finger. I don't know if you can see it or not. I sewed through my finger and it's black and blue. My finger is black and blue. I sewed through it this weekend. Like, ow, ow. So now we're going to do blue on the inside. Yeah, thanks. I'm okay. I literally had it sewed through. I had to pull the thread out of it, and then I poured peroxide on it. So, but you can see it's like black and blue right here where it went through the edge of my nail, but it's all right. You live and learn, right? I hadn't done it in a lot of years. I jinxed myself because I told y'all the other day, oh, I'm good. Don't worry about it. Well, yeah, I was good. All right. Good, right to the point of sewing it right through my finger. Good, right to the point of sewing it right through my finger. That's what I get. I get too confident, and I'm like, oh, I'm good. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I'm good. All right. Mm-hmm. You could actually measure these strips if you wanted, but y'all know I'm not a perfectionist. I just like to do love in a quilt. So I put a lot of love in my quilt. I love my quilts. I love what I'm doing, and I think it shows. So that's the thing. If you're sewing, make sure you're enjoying what you're doing. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, change it up. And you don't have to sew my way. Sew your way. Whatever way that you like to sew, that's how you need to sew, because there's not a right way or a wrong way. It's your way. Whatever your way is what you need to do. Don't ever let anybody tell you you're doing that wrong. If it turns out nice and you like what you're doing it right. Because that's the way it needs to go. So there's a lot of people out there like, well, you're doing it wrong. No, I'm not doing it wrong. I'm doing it my way. I am way far from a perfectionist, y'all. Way far from a perfectionist. So my philosophy is, as long as I like the way it turns out, that's the main thing. That is the main thing. As long as I like the way it turns out. So I like y'all happy. So as long as you're happy in what you're doing, I'm happy. I'm a people pleaser, y'all. I want everybody happy. I can't help myself. I just want everybody happy. As long as everybody's happy, I'm happy. So that's my philosophy in life. That is my philosophy. I like to make my husband happy. I like to make my kids happy, my grandkids, y'all happy. I like to make y'all happy too. The dog happy. Da-doom, da-doom. He's playing with ice. Playing with ice. He's funny. Like, Mom, look what I'm doing. It rolls around the floor. It's all right. I need the mop. So after pressing all the seams this way, I would recommend pressing the seams open instead of, or if you don't like press seams open, fold the seams, whichever, but I would recommend ironing it after each stitch. That way you don't have the bunched fabric on your seams. I don't like bunched fabric on my seams because it creates knots. Creates knots when you're quilting. It's not any fun. Not any fun. I'm rambling again this morning, aren't I? Rambling. Okay, so now we have the blue in the middle. Now we're going to add the brown. I'm excited to plan some projects with my new awesome Barb. Y'all, I'm excited. So I love the new fabrics. And Shannon and Irie, I need to get your fabrics trimmed. So I may try this morning. We'll see. That way I can get the rest of the packages shipped out this morning. So get the rest of them shipped out. So we'll see. I'm excited for this quilt. This quilt's going to be fun. This quilt is going to be fun. If y'all don't mind, we may continue with it tomorrow because I want to get it stitched together. I don't know. We'll see what time I get up tomorrow morning. I might be able to do quite a bit of stitching in the morning. We'll see. I want to get it pieced. We got to do an embroidery into it also. We got to do an embroidery into that. Laser's right under my feet and I'm having to stand here weird. We may try my new phone holder. I got a new phone holder that's supposed to set on the edge of the sewing machine for the phone. We may try that tomorrow. Give y'all a different view. See, this right here shows you that you don't have to have patterns for everything you do. You don't have to have patterns for everything you do. You just, because you can make up things and make it look really cool. So this right here is why I don't like a pattern. Well, besides the fact that I have a hard time with patterns. So, but you guys are helping me. You guys are teaching me every Monday with a block out of that book. Every Monday with a block out of that book. Y'all are teaching me. So I appreciate your help. Y'all are going to get me reading patterns yet. Y'all are going to get me reading patterns yet. So. Okay, we got one more side to add. And then we'll sew these two together and see what it looks like. I'm kind of excited. To see what these look like together. I'm gonna have to cut a few more strips. I'll get all those done. Get the top strip added. Top strip added. This is a good size block. This turns out to be we got to measure it though. We got to measure. I'm thinking 15. I'm thinking 15 inches here. That's my guess. We'll see. I may be way off. Might to be a way off. Okay. So now we're going to take this one. Where'd my other one? There it is. I'm going to take this one this way. We're going to line these up. And stitch across here. Okay. Trim that off there. Okay, so tiny. Yeah. Are you going to do any American tooth? I don't know what that is, Barney. I don't know what that is. My fabric is stuck in Memphis, Tennessee. It was supposed to be here. Oh my gosh, Nancy, I am sorry. I am sorry. Okay, so let me press this and then we'll look at the block. Then we will look at the block. We're going to see. I hope it gets moving. I hope it gets moving, Miss Nancy. I have no control over the, what do you call it? Over the postal service. So that makes me aggravated. You guys excited for this? I hope I didn't sew it upside down. Oh, I didn't. I was like, tell me I didn't sew this upside down. Shipping, right? Y'all. I think it was a good idea to do it this way, guys. I'm kind of liking. Thinking this is going to end up pretty. So what we'll do is we're going to have 3 across. So I'm thinking it'll be 9 squares. I'm thinking it's going to be 9 squares, guys. Isn't it pretty? So thinking. I like it. I like the guitars. I like the guitars. It's going to be pretty. Pretty. Jeanette, your quilt is next. Jeanette's quilt is next, so. And it's the butterfly. We could do the butterfly this way too. We could do the butterfly this way. I found some cool butterflies, so we might have to print some butterflies. May have to print some butterflies. All right, so we had fun this morning. We trimmed up fabric. We listened to the first few chapters of the book. I left y'all with a cliffhanger. Ha ha. I left you with a cliffhanger. If you do not have the book, guys, go get the book. Y'all, it is worth the rest of the read. It is worth the rest of the read, guys. So go get the rest of your book. Go get the book so you can finish it to find out what happens. Because, like I said, there's an exciting end in the book. And it's a learning. It's something that was learned. So good morning, Jorina. How are you? So, like I said, if you do not have the book, send a message. You'll get it. Or just go search my name on the rainforest, on the big A. Go search my name. If you search my name, you'll find the book. You will find the book. So, and it's fun. Second book is in the making. The audiobook, I'm thinking I'm going to have to reread because I heard some. Is there a supply list for your next class? Shannon. So for the quilting and the you know what? I'll get that today because you're not going to need a lot, but I'll get the supply list for you today, guys. We're gonna do like a little coaster first. We're gonna do a little coaster first, and then we're gonna move up to a pot holder, and then from the pot holder we'll move up to a placemat. That'll be what we do in the morning. So we'll do a mug, like just a little coaster, a pot holder, and a placemat. We'll do that in the morning, and then in the afternoon we're gonna quilt. Either you can have a baby panel. One of those panels that I had, just get you a piece of fabric. So you're going to need until I get the list out for you, you're going to need fabric, you're going to need batting, and you're going to need the backing. So, if you have your own quilting designs, awesome. If not, I'll see if I can create some before next weekend, and then, I'll provide those to you. So then I'll probably, give them to you the day of the class. That way, you guys let me know what machine you have. And then I can email the design. So that way you guys will have that. And just anybody that wants to know, not this weekend, but next weekend on Saturday, we are doing a virtual class. That virtual class will run from 9 to 3 Arizona time, which I think I'm moving to Pacific time. So it'll run from 9 to 3 on Saturday. We are going to be doing quilting in the hoop, y'all. I will show y'all. I'm going to show you the whole process. I will show you the whole process and we're going to start with a 4x4 hoop. So any of y'all that just have those 4x4 hoops, you can still quilt in the hoop. I promise. I'm going to show you how to create the template to use. And then after you create that template, it's a game changer. You can literally quilt. I mean, you can go up to a king size quilt with a 4x4 hoop. Would not recommend it. But you can still do that. but that'll be what we will be learning. So like I said, that will be not this Saturday, next Saturday, and it will be on Zoom. So the fun thing about Zoom, we have quite a few people on here that took my last class. Did y'all enjoy the Zoom? The nice thing is you have interaction both way. You're not limited on what you can say. Y'all can show me what you're looking at. Thank you, Aunt Ruth. You can show me what you're looking at. You can show me what you're sewing. If you're having issues on your machine or you're having issues with stitching or whatever, let me know. I can see it. I'll be able to see what you're working on. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So I noticed where they did my stitch, it's like they gathered it right there, and it's like now I have this like line. So I have a bad scar, which I got cream, hopefully comes in today. And then they made my wrinkles look weird. But on a positive note, they removed the wrinkles here. Was lots of fun. Liked meeting others here. Right, Barb? It was a lot of fun. Sounds like fun. Yes, sign up, Jeanette. Sign up. So if you here, let me send you, hold on, I'll help you out here. Doom. You'll see it. It's called One Day Quilting. So anybody that wants to, thank you, Shannon. Thanks. I'm glad y'all enjoyed it. I really enjoyed all y'all. Send a message, Ronnie. Send a message. And you should see it right there. If you go to my home, so if you go to the send a message and it sends you a thing back, scroll down where you see it says home. There's like a quilt on the side of it. Click there. It's on my display page. It's on my display. So no, thank you, Jeanette. They said it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. And we have 6 hours, y'all. We will have 6 hours. So in the morning from 9 to noon, we're going to make a little coaster, and we can make multiple ones. So we'll make a little coaster. You'll learn the process. Y'all are going to learn the process in the morning. The second thing you're going to make is a pot holder. So you'll do a pot holder. And then that third thing you'll make is a placemat. We'll do all that in the morning. I promise you, we'll get all 3 of those done in the morning. So we'll get all 3 of those done in the morning. And then in the afternoon, we will move on and we'll quilt the whole baby panel. You can either have a baby panel or wall hanging, your choice. I will work up a supply list for you today. I'll work up that supply list for you today. That way you guys will know what you need to have available. And like I said, if you don't have quilting designs, I will provide you with one. I will provide you guys with a quilting design that you'll be able to quilt with. So in your machine format, whatever machine you have, I will provide you with that. So I will make sure that you have it. So, but anyways, and again, reminder, guys, go find out what happens on that cliffhanger I left y'all with. Go find out what happens on the cliffhanger. And thank y'all all for hanging out. I appreciate all y'all hanging out with me. I will see y'all tomorrow morning. We may be finishing this quilt. I don't know. We'll see what we'll see. I don't remember what's on play for tomorrow, but we might continue on this quilt if that's okay with you guys. You have a good day too. Thank you, Cassie. Thank you. And yes, thank you, Lori. Y'all all have a wonderful day. I appreciate every single one of y'all. Fundraising, I'm sending you that. I'm sending you the dance. So thank you again. And I will post where I got the design to for the link. So no, you were good. Fundraising. You missed the first few chapters of the book. I played the audio version. So I missed y'all. So, all right. So I will talk to you guys later. I will see y'all tomorrow. We're going to have fun tomorrow. We may be finishing this quilt, y'all. We might be finishing this quilt. I'm going to text the lady that ordered it. I'm going to text her a picture of it. Hope she loves it. Hopefully she loves it because I kind of love it. So, but anyways, y'all have a wonderful day. I will see y'all tomorrow. And thank y'all again, everybody. I thank all y'all. So y'all are all my family and friends here. So love y'all.